Introducing the next generation of 3D tomosynthesis from CubTech, delivering crystal clear, high-quality 3D images with the precision of amorphous selenium direct capture. A large, active imaging area ensures no detail is missed, and seamless integration with Gamma Pro streamlines your workflow. Studies show the Mozart system can reduce re-excisions by up to 50%, while preserving healthy tissue for better cosmetic outcomes. The result? Improved surgical efficiency and quality of care for patients.
When it comes to specimen imaging, there's only one name you need to know. It's CubTech.
What if your breast cancer journey wasn't just medical, but emotional, nutritional, and even spiritual? This is not just another awareness episode. This is your roadmap from fear to clarity, from diagnosis to healing. Hi, I'm Prreeti Butani, and this is Dr. Pram. Welcome to the Mood Food Podcast. We're kicking off a deeply personal and powerful series for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And this one is different. We've created a journey for anyone seeking answers, community, and healing. A breast radiologist to walk us through detection and what early signs to look for. A radiation and a medical oncologist to talk you through chemotherapy and radiation treatment plans and breakthroughs. A breast surgeon to demystify surgery, options, and reconstruction. And Dr. Pram, a naturopath and emotional healer who will guide us through the inner journey of diagnosis, fear, mindset, and holistic healing. Whether you've just been diagnosed, are supporting someone you love, or simply want to be prepared, these episodes are here for you. Subscribe, follow, and share this series. It might help someone more than you'll ever know. Our intention is to empower you with knowledge to navigate your journey successfully with intention and with hope. And Dr. Pram, thank you for joining us to begin this important series. When a person hears the words breast cancer, everything changes, right? So how would you describe the emotional and energetic shift that happens in that moment for the patient and their family?
Well, I can't help but think when you first hear the C word, it's like you almost don't believe it.
Right.
You know, it's like, it can't be.
It's surreal.
It's
It cannot be
totally
happening to me.
surreal.
That's
Correct. So there's a denial in a certain way.
correct.
And you're not sure that you heard it right.
Right.
And then you want to think like, maybe it's not me. It's somebody else.
Maybe they misdiagnosed me.
Yes.
You know, maybe they made a mistake.
Right. And this sort of plays in your mind till you go and sit with your family and discuss it. And even they cannot quite comprehend
Right.
how to support you.
Right.
And this is what I found, what is interesting about the people we talk to,
Yeah.
that they have a network
Right.
of, or a team to help the individual to walk through this.
You mean the providers?
The providers.
Right. Like the surgeons, the oncologists,
Right.
the radiologists.
Right. All of them, you know,
Yeah.
even how peripheral they may be,
Right.
they were there.
Right.
And I found that very heartening, especially when you're at this moment of it cannot be me, and
Right.
and denying it in a certain way.
Right.
You know, and then after some time you'll begin to say, you know, maybe you start bargaining, like maybe if I eat better,
Yeah.
maybe if I exercise more,
Yeah.
or maybe if I pray more and you become spiritual in a
Right.
certain way, maybe it'll go away, or maybe it's not so bad.
Right.
You know, so there's and it's not all in this sequence,
Right. Right.
but it begins to show up in different ways.
Correct.
Till eventually, you know, you might have anxiety around it, especially when you're going to the therapy,
Right.
or you begin to accept that, okay, I've heard this. And I think this is what this series has helped you understand, that once you know the process,
Correct.
you can embrace it more gracefully and go through it without too much torment
Right.
of side effects and ill effects.
Right.
What do you think?
So I think, the first impression is shock.
True.
How is this me?
Mm-hmm.
And then you tell your family and they're like, what? Now we have to think about things that we never could even imagine.
Right.
When it's your husband, your kids, your parents, I don't know who all is involved, your better half, whatever you want to call it. It's like you have to put everything on hold.
Your whole life is on hold.
Yeah. Yeah. To now navigate something that has showed up,
Correct. Correct.
in your realm, so to say. And it's not really good news.
No, it is not good news, but I also think that it is a moment, a wrinkle in your life
Yeah.
that you need to face
Right.
and
Right.
and make changes or start looking at yourself in a whole different way.
Right. Right. So it's an opportunity. I would like to pose it as that, as an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, to say, what did I not do for myself that I'm in this position today? And what can I do for myself going forward to love myself better, to look at myself better, and do things differently?
That is absolutely right. It is really about reflection.
Correct.
That's the first part of the whole thing.
Right. Right. How did I get here, essentially?
Correct. Correct.
So that's what I mean, it's very important to take it in that with that attitude, because otherwise it becomes very difficult.
It's tormenting. You just don't know which way to go.
Right.
And you don't feel supported.
Right.
And the good news is there is support.
Right.
There is support at many levels.
Right.
And I think it's important for the family to be included.
Correct.
As part of that support system.
Right. Yeah, I think at that point, a patient has to decide. I don't even want to call them patient. The person has to decide, that this is my diagnosis. Who do I want on my side to be supporting me? People that are positive, who have their, they want the best for me, the best outcomes for me. And would they be a good supporting partner in my journey? So whether it's your family, your kids, your friends,
Correct.
the providers, they really have to think about that instead of thinking about, oh my God, what am I going to do? I think that's the first thing. And I think, what else can they do to then, kind of digest this diagnosis and walk through this path?
Well, in what I was listening to,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of support from other survivors.
Right.
And groups that
Right.
really support these survivors to
Right.
move through it.
Right.
And some people benefit from them. Some people don't like to be in a group. Then they find their own little niche of people that
Right.
they trust. So the issues of trust are very important.
Correct. Correct.
Here.
So I think also grounding,
Yes.
doing things that you like.
Right.
It
does sort of put a light on how can I reconstruct my life and do things that I really, really enjoy.
Right.
And rather than get stuck in the mud, so as to speak, of
Yeah.
the mess of all the testing and other things that you have to go, you've got to have a release for that emotion to
Right.
come out and be expressed, whether it's art or putting your hands in the dirt or
Correct.
doing gardening or singing, finding your voice. That's important as well.
Right. Journaling, meditation.
Journaling, yes.
All of those things. When I sit down to do art, and if I'm told you have 2 hours, I don't even know where the time goes. I think it's just things that take you out of that mindset.
Absolutely.
So you have a little bit of time to breathe, actually. So your mind is not constantly in that space.
I think it's also very meditative.
Yeah.
When you're doing art or whether you're doing something with your hands or being grounded, going to the beach and sitting with your feet in the sand, just watching the waves.
Right.
There is something very grounding about it.
Right. I think the important part here also is, to make sure there's communication because a lot of women don't like to ask for help, as we've heard throughout the series.
Correct.
And if you don't communicate what your needs are, how is someone else to understand those? Even if you want to take it for granted that they should understand it, I think it's better if you say it to people, especially if you want some privacy, you want a little time by yourself. You don't want to be bothered with going to maybe groups or having conversations even, but let people know what you're looking for at that moment.
Right. I mean, yes, you have to find your voice, just like I said,
Yeah.
You've got to express yourself
Yeah.
to a small group of people you trust, and they become your network.
Correct. It's very important to address these few things as you get into the journey.
Correct.
So I would like to also ask you, in your experience, what's the most misunderstood part about breast cancer?
Well, am I going to live? Right? Everybody has that thought that flashes through their head. How am I going to do this chemo? How am I going to do is it a lumpectomy? I mean, all these questions start coming out.
Right.
And they are fearful because they're going to lose a body part.
Right.
And how am I going to feel about that?
Right.
There's all kinds of questions around loss.
Right.
So as to speak.
Right.
And this is where they need that honest dialogue with the surgeon or the
Correct.
oncologist or the radiologist, whoever they are speaking with. They need these, it's a good idea to write your questions down before you go to a meeting, because then it'll keep you in focus. Otherwise, you have no idea. Things just go right over your head and you don't know what was said.
Right.
So it's good to make notes.
Yeah, I think the most misunderstood part about breast cancer is that you may not survive it.
That's it.
And the point is the survival rates for breast cancer are very high, almost 90%. So to give that to yourself, you're diagnosing yourself as dead before you're dead.
That's true.
And I'm sorry, but you need to plan for post-treatment as opposed to thinking that you're not going to make it.
Right. So the pre is getting organized.
Right.
That during the treatment, you have your network of people that support you. And the post is you gather more knowledge of how you can not do this again, and prevent it from happening again.
Right.
And this is where I think it's important to have that team with you
to support you
through all these processes.
Right. Yeah, it's not fatal.
No. That's why the story of survivors are important, because they tell you how they felt and how they survived.
Right. So you worked with many women who walked this path.
Yes.
And what patterns or emotional themes do you see that emerge at the beginning of their healing process?
Well, as we said, the denial, the anger, the disbelief, all of this, and then really start to look at, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Was there something in the past that actually is stoking this?
Correct.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
And so we have to put those demons down somewhere so they don't affect, because healing is about really working with your own energy.
Right.
To make a difference in your body, to get that DNA working, to get the immunity working, to heal from inside out.
Right. It's almost like, you need to do a deep dive into your emotions to figure out what brought you to this diagnosis, from ease to dis-ease.
Correct.
And we need to start looking at how we can erase those markers.
Right.
Because we never paid attention.
True.
And so we need to now focus on that, because we don't have a choice.
Would you think that we as women always give, and don't want or have difficulty receiving?
I think that's 100%, especially if you have a family in tow. And you have kids, you have husbands, you have families that you have to pay attention to, and you're working as well.
It's true.
At the same time. What time do you spend with yourself?
You don't know who you are.
Yeah.
When I ask my patients, and I'll say, tell me who you are in the scheme of things. And they'll say, oh, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, but who are you? You know,
Your
and
definition needs to be
yes,
very
and it's
different.
right. So they have to seek that. They have to find that person.
Yes. Yes. And I think that is key to improving your health overall.
Absolutely. Once you know who you are, what your likes and what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what what information you
Right.
like to share with others, this is where you begin. And
Right.
I think the whole cancer diagnosis is just opening that window to look at yourself.
Your body is telling you, pay attention to me.
Mhm. Yes, it's telling you, I'm here.
Right.
I'm Amani Jambakar. I'm the medical director of surgical breast oncology at Christus St. Vincent in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And today I'm here to talk about why every hospital needs a CubTech specimen tomosynthesis, because it decreases re-excisions and increases patient satisfaction. If you look at 2D versus 3D intraoperative specimen imaging, the sensitivity in terms of margin assessment goes up with 3D specimen imaging, and the re-excision rates go down. And a reduction in re-excision rate equals better patient outcomes and better use of operating room time. The national re-excision rate following breast conservation is approximately 20%, and it really hasn't changed in the last decade or so. The use of intraoperative specimen tomosynthesis or 3D specimen imaging can decrease the re-excision rate down to 8%, and I've seen recent studies even lower than that. I personally have a re-excision rate of 0.
When it comes to specimen imaging, there's only one name you need to know. It's CubTech.
So, since this is the Mood Food podcast, I'd love to know, how does genetics, nutrition, and environment play into the disease and healing process for someone navigating breast cancer?
Well, cancer didn't happen yesterday. It's been going on. It could have been going on for 10 years or more. And do genetics play a part in this? It's interesting because I was looking at a study which said genetics is only 5 to 10%.
Wow.
Yeah. And what was 40 to 45%
Yeah.
was lifestyle.
Interesting.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
So when we talk about lifestyle, what exactly are we talking about? We're really talking about our diet, our exposures to toxins, how often have we been ill, so our immunity and what's happening there. It's just life. What life happened from birth onwards.
Stress. Does stress play a part
Yes.
in this?
A very big stress is a huge part of it, which reduces everything in your body, everything. And before you know it, your hormones are out of whack, your sleep is out of whack, you can't get sleep, and that throws you off into another place.
Right.
So it completely overtakes your life.
So, in the healing process, would you then recommend to change how you eat, pay attention to what you're consuming in terms of plastics, or
Oh, yes.
the environment? So, what's in your backyard?
Correct.
All the
Pesticides,
Yeah.
plastics, mycotoxins, molds, where it could be.
Right.
We never know where that is. We really have to look at our environment in that way.
Yeah.
And I go through this whole thing with my patients when I talk about it, because we do a whole test for mold in the house, even though, for example, I did in my house. And guess what? I had mold in my washing machine. I never thought of that.
Wow.
So, one has to look at what is surrounding us.
Right.
All the pesticides. I tell my gardener, do not put any Roundup in my garden.
Yes.
Because I don't want that pesticide around me. Or the pesticides that could be from the foods that we might buy in the store that settle on that.
Correct.
And then how do you wash them? How do you clean them? These are important factors that we need to pay attention. And plastic, throw them away. Throw away that plastic cutting board. That's not doing you any good.
Right.
So I go through that. And then we do have tests from a functional medicine point of view to look at what is hidden in your body that you didn't know you had, and how do we clean it?
Okay.
How do we detox you? And all of this is done not in the middle of your surgery or your chemotherapy,
Right.
but when we start to work with you outside that framework,
Correct.
starting before, then during, we leave that to the physicians to take care of that. And then post surgery, post chemo, we start to rebuild you.
Right. So there's different blocks to nurture and nature,
Correct,
essentially.
correct. Because you don't want to interfere with the process of what the oncologist is doing or the
Correct.
radiologist is doing, or
Correct.
even surgery. For example, people want to take a whole lot of vitamins before surgery, and they shouldn't take certain vitamins because they may start bleeding.
Okay.
And then we got a problem on our hands. So I like to educate them. So what they should take to build up for surgery, what they shouldn't take before just a week before surgery,
Or during chemotherapy.
and chemo. So there are, because certain vitamins and nutrients can block the absorption of
Medicine.
the medicine,
Yeah.
basically, and we don't want them to shortchange them.
They could also intensify the effects of radiation.
Correct.
We talk a lot about food as medicine, but for you, what does that truly mean in the context of cancer prevention or recovery?
Cancer prevention, there are many things, like we talked about stress. You have to deal with that. In terms of food, what are you eating? I say if you're eating boxed food, you don't know what's in it, because that's industrial food. They have to put in different things to keep it from decaying.
Right.
Your best thing is to get fresh food. Farmers market are beautiful sources of fresh vegetables and fruits, and even your protein, because it's freshly presented to you
Yeah.
at that point in time. So I help you figure that out. If or your naturopath will help you figure that out when you're working in terms of nutrition. It's also important to be hydrated. Everybody doesn't drink enough water, and then they end up like,
And they're drinking sodas instead.
exactly,
So they're consuming sugar like nobody's
sugar
business.
and chemicals.
Yeah.
And hey, listen, NutraSweet is not the best thing for your liver. So we look at labels. That's the other thing I always tell my patients: read the label, because if you cannot pronounce it, you don't eat it, or you don't drink it. That's all. So just to make your life simple, even vitamins, you don't want to get anything. You want to know the source, what it is, so that. And I like to look at those labels. So if you're taking a vitamin, I want to know what it is, because if you don't have a gene to absorb that particular vitamin, it's a waste. And I always look at genetics to see what's the best vitamin or nutrient that is suitable for you in this journey. So yeah, food is a very important fact. Hydration is an important fact. Sleep is important. We're not sleeping enough because we're revving at night. And with the whole concept of the looking at your social media and looking at so many other things, that it's like a dopamine hit. You're up and about in your mind, and you cannot cut back. So you've got to have good sleep hygiene, is what I call.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is no processed foods,
No processed foods.
no sugars.
Sugar, of course. And there are alternatives to sugars that are decent, that are good for you.
Yeah, I'm talking about processed sugars as opposed to what's in your food.
Correct.
So what's in your food is okay, but what's processed is minimal, I think, is better than,
Right.
consuming a lot. You have to
And
pay
also
attention.
fried foods. I mean, this country has so much fried food as fast food. And
That's my favorite thing.
well, if it's freshly fried and you're eating it, and that's another story, and it's once in a great while. But if you go
Don't
and
pull it out of your refrigerator. That's what it is.
I also have a thing about microwaves. So I'm like, I say,
Yeah.
if you're microwaving, you haven't really smelt it, you've not seen it, there's no kinesthetic relationship with that food, and therefore it won't digest as well.
I think that's key. I heard a dietitian this morning talk about, you should call your food in its native name, because the
It's a great
moment
idea.
you convert it into an English way of describing it. So then you say it's a carb, it's a protein, it's a, whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
then you've lost the relationship you've had with the
Right.
food.
Right.
So it's very important to have a relationship with your food.
It reminds me of my aunt, who would give me a grocery list in my language. And I had to go to the Indian store to figure it out, because now I know it, the botanical name, I know maybe other names about it, but I don't know her version of it.
Right.
So I would just ask people, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
But for her, my aunt, and for me, is that it was cathartic. It brought me back to my home, so as to speak.
Right. And it also kind of builds on your, so if you have a relationship with your food, the smell kind of takes you places, the taste takes you places, and you're not then eating things that you're not supposed to be eating.
Right. Just know, when you go to a restaurant, when you smell the food, you get hungry.
You should check in with your chef. He's not angry.
And check with your chef. He's not angry,
When he was
because you
cooking
don't
up.
want angry food on your plate.
Anyway, so, talking about that, we often speak about connection between the body's energy systems and disease. In your view, how can women better tune into their bodies before something goes wrong?
It's a very personal journey.
Yeah.
And many times we talk about the events in their life and how they place it. Like, every cell in your body has a memory.
Right.
And that memory shows up at different points in life.
So different emotions, you mean? Yeah.
Emotions, reactions,
Yeah.
or suppression of the reaction.
Right.
Where do you put it?
Right.
And
so sadness, anger,
right,
anxiety,
yes,
all of those things. So instead of suppressing them, they should pay attention to it.
Pay attention, be able to talk about it, maybe write about it, share that information with someone you trust.
Right. So is there a particular modality or daily practice like breath work, meditation, journaling that you recommend?
That's it. When I tell my patients always, you feed your body, you feed your mind, and you need to feed your soul, your spirit. And you need to find ways to do that, whether it's, music, dance, writing, journaling, singing,
Right.
all of those things,
Right.
where you can express yourself in a way that brings you joy. And that's what it's all about.
Right. So I think I want to mention this is, breast cancer is looked at as a woman's disease.
True.
But more and more men are also being diagnosed with this disease. And we all know how toxic masculinity kind of plays a part in this. You cannot be seen as a weak person. So you're constantly taking those emotions and stuffing them, as opposed to expressing yourself. Whether if you're sad, you don't want to cry because it makes you look weak. If you're angry, you just you cannot express that to the extent that you want to. I wouldn't tell you to, express it physically, but definitely talk about it. I think all of these things kind of bring you to these diagnoses.
Correct.
So it's important to, emotion, I don't think it should be gender-based.
No, but men deal with emotions differently than women do.
Right.
Most men, let's put it this way, not all men.
Right.
And yes, breast cancer in men is very difficult. I've had a few cases in my lifetime, one of which didn't want to admit that they've had this lump for a long time.
Correct.
And another case where this individual was taking a lot of muscle building steroids that were interfering with the conversion of testosterone into estrogen, and was creating, it's called gynecomastia, where they develop breasts.
Right.
And this was a problem. We had to take him off the stuff he was taking for muscles and say, you got to get off of it, and then we'll check you again.
Right. So I think it's good for awareness purposes.
Absolutely.
It's not really gender-based.
Correct.
It's neutral, actually.
It is. It's like this. Nobody wants to do blood tests because, oh my God, what if my cholesterol's up? Then I can't eat these foods. Everybody has a fear factor in these things.
Right.
But we just have to face it and correct it. Just have to course correct.
So I feel like, we should be able to have these conversations with our families, whether they're daughters, our moms, our sisters, our husbands, our brothers. How do you think creating a community around conversations like that is important?
I'll tell you something. Coming to the United States,
Yeah.
I've found that we've become very isolated. We've become single family houses or households, not like in the country of origin where everybody lived nearby.
Right.
Uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody was right there. And I suggest that we create our own family where we are. And they don't have to be blood relatives, but they could be friends that is like part of your family that you can talk to and create a journey. They can help you create a journey that's important for them and for you.
Right. So the community helps overall.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's important to pay attention and see if you can kind of create communities where you can go and have these conversations.
That's what I liked about Dr. Sunil,
Yeah.
who created that for the South Asian community.
Right.
It was just so important because certain communities are very quiet. They don't talk about these things.
Correct.
They're
Correct.
afraid to mention these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like Dr. Jones said that it's some of the stuff is not available to her communities at all. So they have absolutely no clue where to go
Correct.
with their diagnosis or even being diagnosed.
Correct.
So just having those communities helped this overall. Is there one story or patient journey that has stayed with you over the years?
Oh my, that's a tough question. Yes, I've shed many tears for many patients, I have to say. I just feel for them in terms of their journey and their path. And I wish I could, with magic wand, change something, but that has not happened yet. But I do say that my intervention and my presence with them have helped them in their journey, whereby they've come back 20 years later or 30 years later saying, remember you said this to me? That changed my whole life.
Right.
And I said, that's interesting.
At Mood Food, we believe nourishment starts in the mind. Don't let fear override your power to choose what's right for you. Make sure you offer yourself the same attention, love, and grace that you offer others that are in your life. As treatment ends, a new chapter begins. Let hope write the next page. Healing isn't just chemo or surgery. It's also attitude, what you eat, what you believe, and how you love yourself through it. That was just the beginning. A huge thank you to Dr. Pram for helping us open this series with intention and deep wisdom. Coming up next, how to detect breast cancer early with our guest radiologist, understanding what to ask your oncologists, exploring surgical options, recovery and reconstruction, real stories from patients and survivors. If this episode touched you or reminded you of someone you loved, please share it. Tag us at Mood Food Podcast and let's make this a conversation, not a campaign. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you.